I want to share this cute mini collection of Festive Fairies with you. These are 6 really beautifully created stamps. So the covers you can use in your own artwork, however you would like to use them. And then on the back, the actual stamps themselves, there's multiple pieces to each of the stamps. So you have the Festive Fairy, which is the main subject, and then we've got various sentiments and little accessories that go with each of the fairies. And the collection is part of Creative Expressions Festive catalogue, and I have to show you the catalogue. It's so cute. So this is what stores get to pick the stock that they're going to have in their stores. We've also got a little sneak peek of the new ink that's still coming and all the gorgeous stamps that they have. And Christmas stamps come out in the middle of the year because stamp makers like to get very organised, obviously. And of course you can use these stamps not just for Christmas but for all of the festivities that we have at the end of the year, or any time that you like, really. I've created these as fairies so you can use them. I mean, it's every time of year is a fairy time of year. So let's have some fun. I've got my Smooth Operator art journal here. This is the one with the orange cover, and the paper inside is really, really smooth, a really lovely quality cardstock. I find it's fantastic for stamping, and if you see any of my live videos or if you're a member of my Facebook group and you see me stamping, you already know that I'm not very good at stamping. I'm getting better at it. But I just really, really enjoy it. And I've stamped my little fairies out onto a random background that's got a little bit of overspray and bits and pieces, flotsam and jetsam in the background. And I think stamping on something that's already started for you, it's just a really nice way to have a little colourful background happening before we even get started. Now I'm going to add some colour to each of my Festive Fairies, and I'm going to use mainly layer cake. I've got 3 palettes out. I've got 2 of the little mini bite-sized layer cakes. So one is a secret ingredients palette, the other is a sweet treats palette, and I'm going to use the beautiful lustrous eclairs layer cake palette as well because it's got the gorgeous metallics. And they're going to contrast really nicely with the super matte colours from the other palettes. What I love about using stamps, and stencils are the same sort of tool as well, is because the image is already there. I just have to add colour. I can really try some different combinations and really play around with the way things look, whereas if I've had to draw something from scratch, I get a little bit more precious about it just because I've spent more time. Whereas if I've stamped something, I can test out lots of ideas and have lots of fun with the way that I'm using them and the way that I'm creating with them. So our first fairy that I started colouring is Bauble. And we're now colouring, this is Fairy Christmas Tree. And I think she needs to have what about red hair to match with the little baubles on her dress and her little ruby red shoes. Very, very cute. And when I'm using multiple figures like this, I also really like to try and make each of the skin tones a different colour as well, just so that I have more fun as an artist, because people come in all sorts of beautiful colours, so we may as well use the full spectrum. We've also got a little bit of curve diversity with these girls as well, and this is, I think she's my favourite, is the Sugar Bum Fairy there with her beautiful tushy, and we've got the little Snowbell Fairy. Well, this is the names that they've been called, but of course when you add your colour and the way that you use them, the way you decorate them, they'll be completely different. Now the set of girls that I've got on the other side is just the same stamp repeated twisting and turning it. This is actually fairy mince pie. She looks a little bit like early Jerry Hall. Jerry Hall in her 70s modelling days with the flowing hair. And the paint that I'm using for these ones is layer cake again. And this is from the sushi roll set. So sushi rolls, fabulous as well for, I find, for portraits, because it's got the neutral colours in there from light tones to dark tones, plus neutral beiges, right through to much warmer beiges as well. So you've got a really nice range of skin tones, and they're not repeats from the other sets. So you've got lots of variety happening. Plus, you've got some of these other gorgeous tonal combinations. So the pink one that I'm using at the moment, that is pickled ginger. It's got those two pinks, and I also love sea urchin and the shrimp and prawn. And then the final is that beautiful blue, which is the freshwater eel. So you've got two colours that can stand on their own in all their power and glory, but when they combine, they just have that beautiful tonal element to them. So you've got the darks and lights. Wonderful thing about layer cake paint is the way that it layers. And I just love the way the whites sit on there, especially white, or the highlights rather, especially once they're dry. Then you really see the layering properties come to the fore. Now I'm going to add a little bit of darkness. Oh, there's popcorn. Hello, my little dog. I'm adding just to reinstate some of the darker key lines on there, and I'm just using some of the new brushes that are coming up later in the year. Depending on when you see this video, the brushes are a sneak peek, but they might already be out, just depending on when you see the video. But they'll be here. Isn't that beautiful, the way the white layer cake? So it's called Pavlova, and I'm also using Silver Fox, which is a really gorgeous translucent, very, very glimmery silver. Now it's hard to see how glimmery and magical the Lustrous Eclairs layer cakes look, but I'll show you at the end when we move. I move my camera angle, and you'll be able to see just how gorgeous and glowing and twinkly they are. Isn't that fun? So obviously you can see why it's important to use a waterproof stamping ink. Well, that's what I always use. And then if I wanted to, at the very end, because I've used metallics, they do have an opacity to them, I can always line the stamp back up and stamp back over the top just to add those details back in. Or I can just wait till everything's very, very dry and then just add some little extra detail in with my pen. Oh, look at this camera work. We're whirling, we're twirling, we're swirling. It's for the fairies. You can find these at anywhere where creative expressions are stocked, or at janedavenport.com.